Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Johnson. So Johnson, welcome.
Hey there, Kendrick. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, dude. Can you please let everyone know your full type?
Right. So in the MBTI, I would be an INTJ. And for OPS, I would be MF. So audio, NITE, last, sleep, play, consume last, number two.
Gotcha. And what did you think and how did you feel when you got your typing results back?
When I initially got it back, I've already been around the typology community for a while now. So I already sort of knew I was an INTJ, but I didn't know would be an INTJ in the OBS system. And yeah, when I got it back, it wasn't such a big surprise. I think the biggest surprise for me was just like, oh, I'm actually DE, because I was thinking I was sleep first. I was thinking I was the DI variant.
Right. And you know what's funny is you are a pure blood INTJ. Like blast, leaf, play, consume is as pure blood as you can get.
Yeah, I know. And I've been checking out your channel, seeing like the other INTJs. I was like, you keep saying it's the pure blood INTJ, but I couldn't find anyone else other than maybe one person that was my type twinish.
Oh, really? Who was that?
I think it was her name was Jennifer. She was double feminine version though.
Oh, I see. Right. And Vivian too. She was also a blast sleep.
Oh no, no, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, there's not many pure blood INTJs that shows up for the interviews. They're usually like the blast play version or the
Yeah.
play last, ironically enough. Um,
Yeah, even the playlist version, there's more on your channel.
yeah, so weird. Anyways, dude, so let's go over your parts and maybe you can share with me how you personally experience them. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's start with your first animal, which is going to be the same as Dave's.
Mhm.
In the sense that it's double feminine anti-blast. So it's double activated, but it's double feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you
Yeah.
personally experience that?
Mm, I think it's a bit frustrating because it's not frustrating in the fact that I can talk to people, convey the information, get them to move to do something, right? That's not the frustrating part. The frustrating part is when people sort of push back, they fight back or they have like their own opinion, and then I'm just like all wishy-washy. I don't hammer the point to them. I'm just like, okay, sure, that's fine, do your own way. Yeah.
Gotcha. Don't care enough to argue with the tribe, even though you're elite NT.
Yeah, I rarely argue with people. I don't like it. Yeah, I just feel like nothing can get done if I argue with someone.
It's ironic because NT types are known to be very argumentative, except for the double feminine ones. Like both of
Yeah.
us, because I'm double feminine NT play, right? So people want to argue. I'm like, I don't care.
No, no, no,
No,
no. Definitely.
yeah. Now, I want to talk about the anti-flavor of that specific blast of yours. So, when it comes to anti-blast, you have like a ready solution in your back pocket to give to the tribe, and it's organized because it's NI, and it's kind of like the same for everyone, because it's NI also. Can you share a little bit like what sort of ready-made solutions that you have, or ready organized solutions that you already have in your back pocket, and the tribe comes up for you for advice, and you're like, I got that advice for you. This anti-blast solution is right here.
Well, let me try to think about that. Yeah, so I'm gonna have my organized information, right? The NI and the solution already made. But often, more than not, I know that, if you tell someone to do something, they'll do it, but they won't get that understanding themselves. So often I'll just play around with them. It's like, oh yeah, you could do that, you could try that. And they'll do it and they'll mess up, whatever. And then they'll come back and it's like, oh, did you try doing it like this? Like just like nudging people along the way rather than just sort of, blasting it straight up to them.
Gotcha. So like a gentle nudge. Um,
Yeah, like a gentle nudge here and there. But of course, I will occasionally just be like, yeah, this is what we should do. Or people will be thinking of a problem. It's like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. It's like, no, I already got the answer. I already got the answer, guys. I'm just waiting for people to talk about it first, and then I come in with my amazing idea.
right. I
Hmm.
want to talk to you about your next animal now, NF sleep, NIFI. Um,
Uh,
how do you personally experience that one? And we'll talk about the other factors in a sec after that's done. So let's hear that first.
uh, the NF sleep. I guess it would be a lot of future projection. It's like how am I gonna feel about like my identity in the future? Uh, what do I want it to be like? Processing like uh possible. Well, in my own life right now, my dad is sort of getting close to that age, where it's like could be like a couple years where he's gonna pass away or that kind of thing. So it's just like processing that ahead of time. So there's a lot of that, and then also a lot of future plannings, like where do I want to be, da 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 da.
Yeah, so I've always thought that was kind of weird with like you guys, like the
Mm,
NIFIs, in a sense that like you're pre-processing loved ones passing away. And I say that because socially, it is more appropriate when you're crying, when everyone else is also crying, when something happens. But if you're pre-processed, you've already cried ahead of time. And then when it
Yeah.
happens, you're kind of like you're like a freak almost. Like, why are you okay? So how do you feel about that?
Yes.
It's like you're probably aware that it's a little bit, from a social aspect, it's a little bit weird.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Socially it would be off to be at a funeral and like your personal loved one is like gone and you're just like stoic. Like, I don't want to be like that. I do want to cry if I'm there. But I think the reason why I do it is because I don't want to get taken down, like emotionally, when it happens. Like, I want to still be able to progress with my life, even if my loved one passed, even if it might take like, even if the pre-processing will save me like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, maybe a year's month of I don't know, getting taken out of the game, right? So it's just future problem solving is the way I would say it.
Right. No, that makes sense. But I was also thinking, um, can't you just like mentally prepare that you're gonna lose like 1 year after that happens, and you prepare for that to happen? Then it's more like organic as opposed to being stoic there. So it's still planning, but like planning for
Yeah.
that, like planning for the break after, like you need.
Yeah, planning that you will get taken down, right?
Yeah,
That's also another way to do it. Yeah. I don't know why I do it this way. It just seems more natural.
that's fair. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't think you can help it. That's of your stack.
I can't help it. Yeah. I was doing this even before, like in middle school and high school, and I didn't know why at the time. Obviously, I didn't have the code or anything like that, but I found myself doing that. Just don't know why.
Yeah. Well, now you know. So, um, you know what I found fascinating about your type, the blast sleeps versus the blast play, INTJs, is when I interviewed the blast play INTJs, when they're blasting, they blast for a long time. But like with the blast sleeps, it's like short and concise and organized. It's like
Mhm.
drop and stop versus like nonstop blasting because the play would be activated, right, with a blast play.
Yeah.
Um, Do you feel like that's kind of the way you would personally blast in your life because of that save your sleep, where you've way organized internally already, that when you're ready to blast, it's like, oh, everything's already short and sweet, straight to the point. Let's save energy. Let's not waste time.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Like before getting type and all that, I thought I was an introvert, right? Because I wouldn't talk a lot. Whenever I talk, it's to the point. I have an answer, I'm trying to solve something, or I'm trying to get information. I'm not really a big fan of just talking for sake of talking. So yeah, it's basically that. It's just pre-processing, or I'm trying to get some information that I need to solve whatever NT problem it is.
Gotcha. Now, I want to talk about the NF sleep part where you have a personal code or mantra that you kind of adhere to kind of guide your life. I'll provide a quick example of another INTJ. It's what's his name again? The CEO of Apple. For always forgot his name.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yeah, right. I'm so bad with
Yeah.
names. So Steve Jobs. One of the things that one of his code is stay curious, stay foolish. And I think that's a really growth mindset mantra for INTJs because stay curious means you have to gather new information, right? Which is like the problem for INTJs. And then stay foolish means like you're kind of willing to fail and also let chaos in your life, because you're foolish enough to let that happen. Which is good because it actually brings up creativity, right? Like you get chaos, but the chaos brings creativity as well. So it's like a double-edged sword, you could say. Um, and then like there's other types with the NF sleep, like Jocko Willink has discipline equals freedom. That's like the EP version for him, right? So do you have something like that, like a quote, a saying, like that you kind of go by and kind of help become your like guiding light, as you live your life?
I don't think I have like my own saying that, that I can, blast about. There are other people's sayings that I've used for myself, like Alex Hormozi. What did he say? Uh, you haven't lost yet until you give up. Something like that. That one I really like. I think this one is from The Rock. He says, was it blood, sweat, tears? It's just like, if you want to learn something, you're gonna have to bleed for it. You're gonna have to sweat it out. So, like do the training, and you're gonna have to cry about it too. So those are two sort of mantras from other people that I really like, but I don't really have one for myself yet.
No, that's totally okay. Usually for the ESFPs, they just steal others also, so it's okay, right? And they have the same function as you, just opposite. So,
Mm.
same deal at the end of the day. What I do find fascinating is the code or the mantras that you're using are all from ESTPs. Do you feel like you gravitate towards that specific type? Like you see them as your superhero in a sense?
I do like the ESTPs and ESFPs, yes, because I have like double masculine SF. Like my whole life is just like I want to be cool, but I'm not. I'm a double feminine blast INTJ, so I feel the difference, but I know where I want to go, which is those guys.
Right, right. Yeah, I do see the SF last INTJs when they get older, they do want to go all in like what those ESFPs and ESTPs are doing. Like that's
Mhm.
almost like your final destination. Very ironic,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, dude. Let's talk about your play next. So you're technically an extrovert because you play third. Um,
Yep.
your play is ST, so it's collaborations with the tribe. Either doing real work or physical
Mhm.
labor, something like that, because it's ST in nature, right? Um,
Yeah.
where do you see yourself doing that? Doing that tribe collaboration?
Mm, well, I actually work at a restaurant. I'm the general manager there. And I've been working there for 8 years. And when I initially started, I was not that great when it came to play. Like I didn't want to, like expend energy chaotically with, the other people that are tribe members. But nowadays, as I'm getting older, I've been in the job for a lot longer, and I find myself, okay, it's like I need to do play here. I can do it for an hour or two, no problem. Or it's like, okay, this situation demands play. It's chaos right now. I have to just go along with it and I can do it. It's not, it's never the first thing, but it's there when I need it. And sometimes I do seek play myself just because it's fun.
Right, right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Um, you are energy dom, so I guess that's why you have a limit on how much you play you can use. But at the same time, when you do play with a tribe, it's more of an exchange of energy, right? Like kind of being more goofy or like
Oh yeah.
acting like dumbasses, kind of you could say. Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
can you talk about that when that like energy dom playfulness comes out from you? Like it's time to hang out with people. I know you have saved your friends because you're number two, so you do like people and you like friends. What are
Yeah.
you like when you're, it's time to hang with friends? It's friends time to hang out, time to be goofy. Like what are you like?
Well, when it comes time to that, then that's when I sort of become like really loud and make dumb jokes or be making fun of other people. I'll do the whole gossiping thing every now and then. Gotta get that energy out. Before when I was younger, the play would usually come out at night and it would usually be karaoke with, a bunch of friends, whatever, until like 2 a.m. in the morning. Nowadays, I don't do that. but I'm trying to think, do I do play in any version now? Not to the extreme like that. Actually, what I'll do is I'll talk to people. Like I'll like send messages back and forth or just talk, on the phone, that kind of stuff, which I do enjoy.
Gotcha. And then your last animal, uh SF consume last. So double masculine, so you can see
Yep.
it. You can see it. That's a cool thing about fourth animal being double masculine. I think that's like the best place for something to be double masculine in. Um, there's different dimensions to every animal, usually about four. I want to cover each of those parts. So the first one I want to point out that's pretty obvious, and you're gonna like this one, okay? Um, so first part is the SF flavor of that last animal. I can
Mm.
see from you, you have the SF down. Like you got your hairstyle, you got your earrings, you got like nice skin. Like it looks like you're doing the SF stuff, man. Like you're not like Dave, with like the SF's missing. Can you share a little bit about like what made you decide to like, you know what? I'm not gonna be like that cringy INTJ SF like
Mhm.
weirdo. Like I'm gonna look cool.
I don't know if it was ever a choice. It's definitely always felt more like a gravitation. Like I just naturally just want to go there.
Yeah.
But like you're saying with the earrings, I don't think the hair is that good right now. But yeah, the skin, I still got tattoos, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, I had like a consumed glass crash like 2 years ago. Like everything sort of burned down, and then literally during the period of like recovering, I started doing consume, like the tattoos, the earrings. I even colored my hair at one point.
Yeah.
All of that came after the consume last crash. And now it's like more like regular INTJ, but like adding in consume here and there.
Yeah, but you're not the cringe INTJ. You're like you have some coolness in you now.
Some coolness, yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's all you need. It's just the sum goes a long way, right?
Yeah, it's 10%, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I think that crash was probably not one of the best things that happened to you.
I would say so, yeah. At the time it didn't feel so great, but yeah.
Can you share what happened in that consume last crash of yours or tidal wave?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll just show some of the SE that sort of happened. So I was in a relationship for 3 years. I was in the job, for like probably 5, 6 years at that point. I was about to transition to another job with some other friends, like in a new business. So new business opportunity, cool. Uh, and yeah, everything just sort of crashed in like almost one moment. There were signs. There were signs that I could have consumed that, something was coming. Like me and my girlfriend at the time, we gave up our dog a month before. Uh, there were signs in the restaurant that the staff were not happy with some of the friends that I was going to go into the new business with. And yeah, it just all happened at one time. I literally lost my girlfriend the next day. My best friend, I turned on my best friend. I was the one that did that. I lost the business opportunity, and the staff at the restaurant were almost going to rebel against me. So it was just like, whoa,
And
yeah.
obviously that blindsided you. So it wasn't something you can sleep process ahead of time. So how did you react to it initially? And then what was the recovery process like when this happened?
Hmm, how draining. How draining is what I'll say. I think I was down for a good 6 months to a year, just like really low energy, still going to work because, it's my obligation, my duty. I need money. But, it's just like, ugh, why am I here? What am I doing? Should just like go off myself or something. But just kept going, kept pushing. And then I did a stupid move during that whole time, which was my then girlfriend, my ex, she came back and not to get together or anything, but she was working on her green card, right? So I was like, in my dumbass mind, I was like, hey, maybe I can bring you on as a manager, so that you can help get your green card. And I did that fully knowing that it was a bad move because everyone at the restaurant did not like her, and I still did it. I knew it was bad because I felt bad that I sort of lost her chance to be able to get that green card, whatever, right? So I don't know, it's just a series of dumb moves after a while. And then I don't know, eventually got out of it.
Oh, and where was she from? Is she from Vietnam?
She's also from Vietnam.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Man, that's tough. That's like that sounds like a horrible turn of event. Dave and Shan did say that when consume lasts, people get a tidal wave. It's not often, it's like once every 10 years. It's really, really horrible. Like it's really like intense.
Yeah. I, I'm trying to think, like, before that consume last crash, was there any other crashes on a similar scale? I can't recall anything like that, but
Yeah.
it's the most recent one. Now, when I look back at it, it's funny. But yeah,
Are you in your 20s or 30s?
I just turned 30 last year, turning 31 this year.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense why you didn't have any crash before that. Because the crashes usually happen, in your 20s and in 30s. So
Mhm.
there
Okay.
should be another one in your 30s, if you don't do the consume. You know what I
I,
mean?
I expect it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but if you do the consume, you can avoid a big one. You'll have like minor ones, which is the ideal
Yeah.
situation.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, it's just like, yeah.
so since that happened, you're now in the present moment, and then because you do have double masculine SF consume, there is going to be that animal that's like nudging you. It's like, hey, you should investigate further. Consume more about this. Do you get those gut feelings now, and then do you entertain that gut feeling now, or are you still avoiding it like before?
Um, I, it's not like after that consume last crash, I suddenly, turned on to consume, right? I think I'm like maybe 5% better at it, I would say. Like I will sort of dig in and research things every now and then, even though I don't like it. Well, actually, yeah, I will say I have gotten better at consume. Like, I think starting in April, that's when I got like serious. Like, I really want to actually grow. And in order to do that, I can't be a bullshitter. So that means I have to track my progress. So I was like tracking stuff like my weight in order to lose weight, my finances, and all that. And I found that I've actually been getting a lot of success. So that is tracking the physical data, which I don't want to do, but I found I'm actually getting success, so I should do it.
Oh, I see. So I guess you're doing some ST.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, it's more ST, it's more play. Yes.
Right. Okay. But what about the consume itself, where like, you have that gut feeling, it's like, hey, Johnson, you should like
Mm.
investigate this further, kind of like, before, you told me you had signs that the breakup was happening and all this stuff, but then
Yeah.
you didn't listen to it, but your gut feeling told you there was something here, and you ignored
Yeah.
it. So have you noticed yourself doing it like in a small percentage where like, you kind of got like that, let's say nudge, uh, and be like, hey, look into this, and then you did look into this, or not so much?
If I'm honestly, saying it, I don't think I have. I've been like looking into that thing, right? It's like, how would I even know? I'm trying to think like really right now, but like it's more like play stuff, not actually consume. So I was like,
Right.
I don't know, I got some new clothes, maybe.
Yeah, so okay, so you're doing the SF stuff, which is great, like absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. So you have like, I would say consume as different dimensions, right? So
Mm.
one of the dimension is SF, which is like, gathering what's cool and what's popular, which you're doing, which is great. Like that's actually amazing,
Yeah.
right? I'm talking about like gathering new information for self. New,
Mm.
nothing to do with what you know, nothing to do with any topic that you're already aware of. Have you done any of that or no?
Okay. New information for self. New information for self in the dating realm, but even that's sort of like play, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can get it from people. That's play though.
Yeah.
Someone.
Then yeah, I think no, if I'm being
Okay,
honest.
okay, no, that's cool. No, it's good. That's cool. No, I'm just trying to see
Mm.
how you are for each aspect. So
Yeah,
gathering
yeah, yeah.
information for self is empty at the moment. So there's room for growth in that one. And then I'm trying to think. What about part of consume is also having external self-awareness. So that
Mm.
means seeing yourself from a third person perspective, almost like a ghost, and like when you're interacting with other people, you can see how you come across to them, are you doing that? Are you watching yourself from a third person perspective and being like, oh my God, it's SF. Oh my God, I came across as cringe or whatever, right? Like, are you doing that or are you not tracking that?
No, I think that one I can track. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
one's not too hard to do. Yeah.
I think it's because you're a double decider. So it's that the double deciding helps you with that aspect. Um, all right. So it sounds like to me like the biggest issue is gathering new information for self, you know, like
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. Well, at least you're aware. So now you can like if you were to gather new information for self, what would it be if you had to?
Why are these questions so hard? What would I gather from myself? I don't know. Yeah, like I don't like I hear your question, I hear what you're saying, but like when I think about it, it's like I don't know.
No, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it to light so that you're aware.
Mm.
You're aware of like, oh my God, I have a hole here that I'm not even aware of, you know? Um,
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated right now at the moment.
yeah. Yeah, because like, when I interview like the blast, play, consume, sleep INTJs, right? Like they have consume demon, but they consume. They know what they want to consume on, you know? But then the sleep blast is like, I don't know. And like I don't know what I don't know. And there was one thing when I was interviewing Dave, we had a funny interaction about this. So he really got into like In-N-Out Burger, right? That's what he told me
Mhm.
during our interview. And then he said his friends have been telling him for years about this restaurant, about In-N-Out Burger. And he said when he's driving, he always sees In-N-Out Burger, but he never goes, right? Until like one day he finally did it. And then he said like a wave of regret like overcame his body. And he's like, oh my God, why did I do this sooner? You know, kind of like that, like that's like the feeling of consume last, he said, right? And then because you guys are similar types, except he's self-above tribe, I would
Yeah.
guess that would be something that's similar to happen to you. I was actually funny because like when I mentioned this to him, I'm like, I bet you blamed your friend for not telling you sooner. He's like, I totally did. Totally blame them for not telling me sooner about this like amazing thing, you know? Because that's what consume last people do. It's like step like A, you're like you see something, B, you finally do it after many years, wave of regret, and then C, blame a friend, be like, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Like I missed out 10 years of my life because I wasn't consuming this, you know? Um, so in your case, has this ever happened where like, one of your buddies has been telling you about like, hey, Johnson, you should really be like look into this, like, try this restaurant or this video game or this movie or travel or whatever, like, and then you held it off, held it off. And then finally you're like, okay, fine, just shut up, I'll do it. And then you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Has that ever happened to you or not quite?
I'm sure it has happened, and I'm trying to, go back from my memories. I can't recall a moment, but I do know people are telling me stuff that I should try, right? Hey, like you should watch this movie, or you should travel a little bit more. Don't just go to the US and stuff like that. Go around the world. So yeah, people are telling me, and yeah, but I can't recall like a specific moment right now.
I see. I guess you haven't pulled the trigger yet because you're still kind of young.
Probably.
Yeah. All good, man. All good. I want to
Mm.
talk about your sexual modalities next. Your audio-kinesthetic. So we both share that.
Yep.
Audio. Learning from listening and having a strong sense of hearing and sensing vibrations. Can you share a little bit about like your ability to use that?
Well, right now I'm doing like a YouTube channel thing, for the growth. And when it comes to editing videos, I find I don't want to like watch the footage. I just want to like, listen for like specific audio cues. It's like, did that sound funny? Or it's like, oh, like was this too short, too long? Like, what makes it funny? What sounds funny? What sounds good? So in terms of that, that's sort of the audio.
Yeah, no, 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 that makes sense. I think video editing is more SI actually, like from my
I,
perspective.
I also hate the editing, by the way.
Yeah, it's weird because it's organizing, but like it's not NI, it's physical, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah. So, uh,
it's draining.
yeah, because like I found for myself, like I hated it because I'm an EP, right? Like I hate organizing, and so I didn't want
Mhm.
to video edit. But then now that it's like unconscious unconscious competence where like I've done it enough that I've like it's kind of automatic. It's like, oh, it's actually okay because it's SI, right? So
Mm.
even though it's in the bottom, I'm like, oh, it's okay. But I noticed with the NIs, it's like a real pain, you know, it's like a real struggle. Especially if you're not like an IP or EJ, you can't double observe. That seems to be like an extra layer of like difficulty to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, no worries. Um,
Mhm.
but that's interesting how you're just listening in to edit as opposed to just like actually seeing the actual timeline to edit from the video editing software. Would you say then is your visual is really hard, like it's hard for you to see stuff like visually? Not because you're Asian like me, but like
Have
I had to
glasses
say
too,
it.
is it?
No, I had to say it. But because like because you have visual last as a result of being audio kinesthetic.
Mhm. Yeah, like in terms of creating images or stuff in my mind, like the actual visuals say they can do. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I sort of have like some visuals, like they're like blurry images, but when I talk to like a visual, they're like they can see the details and all the little, I don't know, dingy, the little stuff that's in their image. I'm like, I don't do this. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sounds are definitely what I'm focused on.
Right. Okay, well that's you're like like an extreme audio person like I am, you know. Like I also have the stuff that you describe I personally have issues with as well. Like everything's blurry, can't see anything, can't visualize anything. So totally get where you're coming from in that aspect. What about the kinesthetic side of things? Like, how are you
Mm.
when it comes to doing things with your hands, like just like movement. How are you with the kinesthetic?
Yeah, I've been finding as I've been getting older that I really like the kinesthetics. Like, I like working at the restaurant because there's stuff that's always breaking, right? So it's like I gotta fix it with my hands, and I actually prefer the physical problem solving part more than like the mental stuff most of the time. Because like I can actually get it done, I can get it in there, I can break stuff off if I need it,
Yeah.
and getting rid of frustration, physically slamming doors, hitting stuff, making noises, that's been really enjoyable. But it sort of freaks everyone else.
That's funny. Yeah.
Mhm.
I used to work in a restaurant too, so I can relate to some of the stuff that you're saying. Especially it's slightly different. Like you like to
Mm.
slam things to really stress. I don't like to do that. I like to SI control things. So, like for
Ah,
example, I used to work at Starbucks and I have to SI make sure that every single portion is correct to make it look like the perfect like cappuccino or something or frappuccino. So I did like that control aspect of it. So it's a little bit interesting with the SI and the SE. Uh,
that's so interesting. I don't really care about the physical control aspect.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't like slamming things. I don't like when I'm in the gym. Some people after they do like chest press, they drop the weights on the floor. Like, oh, I can't stand that. Like for me, it's like it's all about control. Like control the weight back to your lap, control the weight back to the rack. Don't slam it.
No, man, no. The fun part is just comes from
Yeah. Well, I can see that now. I'm like, oh, those assholes doing that. They're having fun doing that because they have SE, right? So it's fine. Like now when I see it, I'm like, oh, it's just an SE person. It is what it
Mhm.
is. You know? How are you with working out and stuff? Do you enjoy lifting weights or doing
Yeah.
exercise?
Yeah, I enjoy lifting weights and stuff. I started working out since I was 22, but I wasn't really like serious about it. It was like on and off, that kind of stuff. I've been more serious in the last year or two, I would say. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And do you feel like it's a
Mm.
good outlet for you? Like it, relieves stress. You feel good doing it?
I like it. I find I have more energy. I also like seeing, the physical body transformation. That's nice. But I find that it's not stress relieving. I don't know why. Like, it definitely is good to see the progress. I get the energy, that's great. But it's not stress relieving. Stress relieving comes more from I don't know, the physical slamming and just venting frustration. can't do that so much here at home at my gym because I have a roommate and he sleeps, like late till the afternoon. So it's like, yeah, I can't like just slam the weight.
I think one of the reason why it's not stress relieving also is because it's SE. So I noticed with the SE and the SI, the biggest
Mm.
difference is like with the SI, we like to do the exact same exercise all the time. But with like the SE, you get bored with the
Mm.
same movement, right? Which is ironically, when you do lift weights, you have to do the same movement for many months before you switch channel change to a different kind of exercise, right? Like for example, if you're doing back squats, then you can't just suddenly do front squats and then goblet squats and or like if you're doing a chest press with dumbbells, you can't just channel change to like a bench press, or like a cable press. Like you have to stick to the same one for at least 3 months before you channel change. And for people with extrovert sensing, that's annoying as hell. It's like I'm bored of the same movement. I want to try something else. Would you say that's like true for you or
I think that's a good point. Yeah, I think that might be it. Just because yeah, you have to sort of stick with a routine program for a while. So I do plan on changing up the program like, I don't know, 2 weeks from now. But even then, it's just like variations of different moves. It's nothing super new.
okay, it's not different enough that it
Yeah.
would yeah.
Yeah. What I do find stress relieving, other than the slamming and all that stuff, like going to new places. Like I like going by the lake that's near the city, or I just went camping like 2 weeks ago with some friends, and it was like that was really nice. I was just like camping, it's dumb, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. So you have like more stuff in your bucket, like for S
Yeah.
the SE outlet, essentially.
Yeah. And I'll get the SE from the play. Like, people will be like, hey, let's go here. It's like, all right, I won't go myself, but if you're inviting me, then I'll go. And it's like, that's how I get mine consumed.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have seen that for the IJs in general, not even consume last. Like IJs in general, you need to be dragged by your friends to try something new, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucky for you, you're number two. So that really helps, like with the friends thing. Um,
Yeah.
what about your tester sense of smell? You're working for a restaurant. Would you say it's been honed as a result of just working for a restaurant or not so much because you're not really doing the cooking, you're managing people?
I don't think my sense of smell is all that good, to be honest. I'm sensitive to like bad smells, like body odor and stuff. But like actually like I don't know, good smells, I guess, when it comes to food. No, I'm not that great.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've always found it fascinating. So like what I found is like your first sexual modality, audio, the opposite is the visual, right? So
Mhm.
um, it's usually about like 80-20 for that. Unless you're one of those people who are like gifted and you can somehow use visual even though you're in audio. They do exist, but it's a very tiny percentage. You know. But I did notice for like the kinesthetic and tester, sometimes it could be as close as like 51-49. Um, so so yeah, I'm in that weird case where like my kinesthetic is worse than a lot of people who's like savior kinesthetic, but
Mm,
my sense of smell is quite good, ironically enough. So it's like for me, it almost feels like 55-45. So
mm.
um
Like good well, what are we defining as good?
yeah, like I have strong sense of smell. Like
Mm,
when I'm cooking, I'm aware of like, oh, this doesn't smell right. Like I need to, add like different spices or whatever. Or like, it's just
mm,
like I have like a strong sense of smell, and it's very sensitive too. Like I can distinguish certain smell. So, but my kinesthetic is worse than like other savior kinesthetics I've noticed. Like I did work in the gym for many years, so it's improved, but like it's still not like as natural as like someone that is like, kinesthetic or audio kinesthetic, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
for you, for example, I bet you your kinesthetic is better than mine, but my tester is better than yours because I think my tester is higher. So
yeah. I would say I'm sensitive to smells, but I don't think I'm good at smells in what the way you're describing with like knowing what spices to put in. No, not
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool, dude. Let's talk about the last part of the your typing, which is the social types.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
you're number two. So number twos are known to be a generalist. Ideal career for number twos would be either an entrepreneur or a manager. And so you're doing that right now. You're a manager, which is perfect.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And like, what about like about that? Like, just it just feels right, being a manager.
Yeah, I would say it feels right, it's like it's real easy at the job. I feel like I don't even need to be there at this point. I've sort of systematized it pretty well, where it's like you guys can handle it yourself. I don't actually have to be here. So that's good. And also just like getting into random troubles at the restaurant, saving the day, there's a lot of that going on. Uh, and I enjoy it. But now I find like I want to do something new, or I want to, like grow. It's like I don't want to be working for someone else. I want to build something, which is like I'm trying to head the entrepreneur route.
Right. Right. Which is
Mhm.
perfect because you're number two. That's like the ideal route to go to.
Yeah.
Um Now, there is something about your type that is interesting in the sense that you have a lot of cognitive dissonance as a result of your animals and your social type are in conflict are in complete opposition of each other. Okay, and I'll explain. So when David Chan were explaining how animals activate social type, um, consume activates social type 2, right? But you're consumed last. Okay. And then blast activates specialists. So it's good for specialists to have blast, but then you're number two. Heck. And then number two is you have save your friends, right? But you're play third. You have demon friends, right? And then or demon, not demon friends, but demon play. And then um sleep is flex, right? And that shouldn't you should have that as your minor demon as a result of being a number two, but you actually have it. It's being activated as a result of having sleep savior. So you have nothing at all like in terms of like harmony of your social type and your animals. Not there's no harmony there. It's like you are like a mess internally. Can you share a little bit about that cognitive dissonance? You know, um, having all this like
Wow.
conflicting.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm processing it right now. I didn't realize how much of a mismatch it was.
Yeah,
Mm. I guess, yeah, it was hard earlier. Like when I started, I don't know, my career, whatever, when I started the restaurant, like didn't really know what I wanted. I mean, I progressed to manager pretty fast within like a year. But after that, it's like, yeah, I wasn't really that great of an assistant manager for a while. And even later on, I got promoted to general manager only because like the previous general manager left. So I was like, oh, okay, now I'm the general manager. But if I look back, it's like, yeah, I didn't really do a great job, as it. Now I can say I am doing a good job. But before I was like, yeah, I don't know, it's a mismatch. It's like there's stuff that I want, but I don't know if I'm allowed to do it. And yeah, I don't know, it's just a lot of struggle, I guess.
yeah. So part of consume is gathering different skill sets, right? So
Mm,
um, because you're consume last, if you're in a managerial role, you should be able to do a little bit of everything, right? You know.
yes.
So I guess that's what made it difficult at first because you didn't know how to do how to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So that's the first part. But what about the demon play and save your friends? Do you think that's actually been an issue for you or not so much? That's always been okay.
Mm. Uh, issue where I don't think I ever had a problem with people. I'll say that. Yeah. No. I was always able to dance my way around people. And even when I first went into management, people were like other senior managers were always giving me advice. It's like, be careful about people, don't be too friendly with them, they're not your friends, that kind of stuff. I was like, whatever. And I never had trouble with that. I never had trouble until maybe like the when I had my consume last crash.
Yeah.
But I never had problems with people.
That's so funny. You didn't even listen to them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. I never listened.
hey, you know, I think what's funny though is maybe the person that's telling you all this, I feel like maybe they are a number one. Like they're not your friends, you know, like that's something like a number one would say, right? You know?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for you, like, yeah, I don't see what's wrong with being friendly to people, you know, kind of deal, right?
I mean, no, I still agree with his opinion that you shouldn't be friends with people at work.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do agree with that, but I don't know, struggle with it the same way that he did or anyone else does.
So that person could have either been a number one or a decider, would you say?
I think he was a number one and a decider.
Oh God, that's like that's deadly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about your type is your animal stack having a play and sleep in your first three animals, and being a number two, having uh friends as a savior, and also flex third. So it's a demon, but it's activated. You are the ultimate double decider, like the ultimate double decider. But
Yeah.
you are missing so much gaps when it comes to the observer stuff. So like, dude, you are gonna have the worst of the worst, like observer tidal waves, you know? Not that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it just, yeah. That's why when you had your tidal wave, I'm like, oh God, that sounds like a horrible consumer loss tidal wave. That sounds really bad, you know?
Yeah. That was really bad. It was definitely.
Yeah, no, that's a bad
I,
one.
I,
And that's your
yeah.
first one. So that's only your first one, right? So the next one is in let's say you said it happened to you 2 years ago. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably next 3 4 years.
yeah, up to 8 years. You have up to 8 years when the next one happens.
That's okay. Yeah.
The next bomb. Oh God, I don't even know what that's gonna be like. Um,
Sweet.
yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay. Um, so how do you feel about your third social type, flex? Where do you see yourself flexing? Because the difference between a four and a two is twos, they are not missing flex. Like when I got my
Mm.
social type, they thought I was a four at first. And then I had to send in like supporting documents and stuff. And then finally he said, oh yeah, you are not flex last. Like you do have a flex outlet. I have a travel blog, I have a travel YouTube channel, and I'm
Mm.
flexing the fact that I've been to over 100 countries, you know. So I have my flex outlet. I tell people, oh, yeah, I've been to 100 countries. So he calls it chill flex, right? Number two's have chill flex. So you have chill flex like I do. So what is your flex outlet where you're like like Dave says that you drop it and you get out. Get out before it becomes cringe. Like you say it enough so people know that there's like something, like something that you're flexing about, but you don't stay enough that it sounds like you're bragging, doesn't sound like you're flexing too hard. It's just like a quick one, quick drop and go. Like where is your outlet for that?
It's not so much as a saying. There is the way that I dress outside of work, which is part of consume, right? I feel like it's pretty good compared to like friends that I have. So there's that. But in terms of like what do I tell people? I don't know. Like I work super hard, or it's like I did all this in the restaurant, blah 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 blah. It's like whatever. And I did all that kind of stuff. All the systems and stuff I've accomplished. But then like where else do I flex? Where else do I flex? Uh, oh, uh, worked out to the point where low body fat percentage, so I got the visible abs. I'll just drop it in there every now and then I don't make it a big deal because I also feel embarrassed when I say it.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't want to really say it too much.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's what I mean by chill flex. You're like, yeah, I have visible abs, and then that's it, and then you leave, right? Like not so
yeah,
it's like quick, and then you get out, and it's like, oh, it's like it didn't get cringe, because
yeah,
you said it so casually, right? That it's like,
yeah. It
yeah,
it feels weird to me to flex. It's like, ooh, why am I so into myself? Like I don't want to do that.
yeah. But imagine you had it savior and you were doing that all the time, like you're into yourself all the time, right? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you probably have friends like that, and it's like, oh God, just stop, you're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah. No, I agree. I see it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, dude. So I've asked you every single question. We're gonna wrap up the interview soon, but
Mm.
before we wrap up the interview, there's two things I want to ask. The first one is, what do you want people to know about you? Because this is your platform. You messaged me about this interview, and was there something that we didn't talk about that you wanted us to address, or is there something that you want people to know about you that we didn't cover today? Yeah, the floor is yours, man.
Oh gosh. No. What do I want to last about? Well, I guess I would say that I don't know, this whole self-growth thing, going to typology, discovering OPS has been a big life changer. And I think for a lot of people that get through the hard times of, accepting your type and, like, oh, it doesn't really matter once you discover your type because you still have to grow regardless of that. Or just be I don't know, regular person, whatever that means. It's just like, yeah, the one thing I found in my life that I really would state that I want to do is that I want to be growing. I want to be someone that is getting better and better each year and is going to be the best version of myself. Yeah, that's probably what I would say.
Gotcha. And then one last thing is, do you have any question for me? So this is your consume last now, okay? Do you have any question for me at all? Before we wrap this in. Do
Mm.
you have any question for me? Now's your chance to ask.
Oh gosh, do I have any questions for you?
Consume last people don't have any questions usually, but I want to see if you do. Dave actually had a
I
question.
usually
Dave actually had a
no,
question.
it's true. It's true. I usually don't have questions for people. I already know, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I would say how do you view other people of my type if you've seen any? That's what I would like to know.
In what sense? Like,
Uh, in what sense? Huh? Uh, how bad how bad are their crashes or yeah, let's go with that. How bad are their crashes?
you know what? I grew up in a consume last household, and it's really annoying. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. My mom is a sleep blast play consume ISFJ. And my sister is an ENFJ. She's a blast sleep play consume. So same as you, except they're both FETI axis. Um, so it's a little bit different. And I'm watching their tidal waves and stuff. Like my sister, for example, she has mental health issues, and she's super smart, but like at the same time, it's because she's a specialist. She's a number three. She doesn't see outside of that the specialist stuff. She doesn't consume enough of stuff. So, and ironically, she's even a psychologist. She has a master's, right? And then she didn't even see this, and like she wasn't consuming herself, um, and like she thought she had this specific mental health issue that she was struggling with. I'm not gonna say out in the camera, but she thought she had something else. Um, so she thought she had um autism. She didn't have it at all. They when she went to the hospital, they actually tested her. It was something completely different. And it was something that she did not sleep process because she did not consume. You can't sleep process anything you haven't consumed. So it threw her in complete out of whack, and she has a savior flex. So now it destroyed her flex. Everything's been destroyed. And it's like huge tidal wave, massive tidal wave. It like caused so much problem. She's still dealing with it right now. It's been a year since she got the diagnosis, and she's like, I don't have that. I can't have that. I'm like, but it's an official medical diagnosis. Like you do have that, and you actually caused that. There was like signs that it was gonna get triggered if you didn't stop, you know, doing recreation drugs. So it's like and it's like yeah, that's a big tidal wave. And my mom too. My mom huge tidal wave. There's so many signs, you know. Like my mom pretty much got abandoned by all her kids, like me and my two sisters, right? We all abandoned my mom, right? I mean, I'm okay with her now, but like she had to do damage control later on. But she wasn't looking at the signs. She's like, she wasn't seeing like, okay, one kid left, and then another one left, and another one left. She's not consuming. Like, why did they leave? Because she's anti consume last, right? Like why, right? Like what's like the logic? Like what's the pattern, right? She didn't see that she was the pattern. She was the common denominator in the story, right? So but now she's doing damage control. She's actually aware she's the bad guy and she's like fixing the situation now. But it was a huge
That's
title
good.
for her because everyone abandoned her, right? So yeah, it's like definitely the signs are there. Okay. Like for my mom, it was the sign was there. Like one kid left, another one left. Once the second one left, that should have been a sign that hey, you need to investigate something, you know. And for my other sister, it's like, oh, you have the same reoccurring life problems. It's not being fixed. There's a saying, right? If you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same results, right? So if you have a problem and you're trying to solve it, but you're using the same solution to solve the problem, it's not gonna get fixed. Therefore, the only solution is to gather something new, and the new will produce new results, right? So my sister, that's what happened to her. It's like she had the same problem that she kept dealing with, like some mental health issue. She kept trying to solve it with the same exact same thing. I'm like, you did this last year, and the year before, the year before, the year before. Like, of course you're gonna get the same result. You did nothing different, you know. So what I'm trying to say is for you, that two things I'm seeing now is like there are signs, so pay attention and consume and investigate. Even if you have to use play to gather information, do something to gather it, right? And then B, if you have a problem in your life that's, like Dave said, like observers get stuck, right, in the pathway. Uh, the solution is new. It's not same old, it's new. You have to gather something new. And you are allowed to use a tribe to gather the new. So that's
Only
why,
way I learned.
yeah, yeah. So what do you think about that? Like,
About your story,
well, like I
about
mean,
your mom and your sibling. Yeah,
like
yeah.
no, like the two lessons specifically for
No, it makes a lot of sense, and I see it as well. Like there were signs, and yeah, gathering in new information. Well, in this case, I would probably have to do play to get it.
yeah.
But I see what you're saying, and I agree.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Johnson, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today about your official typing results. So thanks for coming out, man.
No, thank you, Kendrick.
All right, take care.
Take care.